So welcome to Anatomy and Physiology, where we will walk through the course in terms of kind of what are the expectations, where you can find things, and answer any questions you have. So the first thing really is everything is in your syllabus. Read the syllabus, you must, because I'm a huge sci-fi Star Wars fan. I'll be using a lot of these references and memes. Okay. So the very first thing I would recommend you do is to print, read, and highlight important information. All the policies, deadlines are in the syllabus. Now, you will have questions for me, and if you have questions for me that can be found in the syllabus, I oftentimes can answer you, but what I'll end up doing is could you refer you to the syllabus, and that's just to get you into the habit of finding the answers in resources that are already there. And if you still can't find in the syllabus, email me again and be like, okay, you'd find it here, but here's what the answer is. Okay, I just want you to get into a habit of looking for things. This course has 4 main content units. The first content unit is on introduction, chem, cells, tissues, and the integumentary system, otherwise your skin. So after the first unit, you'll have a unit 1 test. Okay. Then you'll have the second unit, which would be on skeletal, joints, muscle, and nervous. It doesn't seem like a lot, but muscle and nervous are 2 of the most difficult topics in this course. So make sure you set aside enough time to cover unit 2. And after those 4 chapters, you'll have a second exam. Then the third unit is going to cover the cardiovascular system, which seems very light, but it's actually blood, heart, and blood vessels. So 3 chapters in one kind of topic. Then you'll also have respiratory system and then the digestive system, and that's followed by a unit exam as well. Then the 4th unit is on the urinary, endo, and reproductive. And within the reproductive, it includes both male and female. That's followed by a unit exam, similar to the unit exams you've had in 1, 2, and 3. But in addition to that, it'll have an additional 50 questions that goes over unit 1, 2, and 3. So it's comprehensive. Okay. Some resources that you can use is the first resources you have will be Canvas with the navigational materials. Then you will find supplemental course videos in the announcements, worksheets, and then there's a lot of external resources such as Amoeba Sisters, Khan's Academy. There's a lot others, and if you find something that is really useful to you, please share it with me and I'll share it with the rest of the class. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
Excuse me. I wanted to share that I do have an anatomy app. I bought it and it's called Complete Anatomy, and it shows all the different parts of the body, and you can zoom in and it'll show when it's flowing. It'll give you some extra courses. It'll give you some little pop quizzes and stuff, and it's so cool. It is $75, but it's worth it because it literally does everything for you for male and female. You can do your different skins, the different vessels, the skeleton if you wanted to, or all the different veins. I think it's so cool, and you guys should try it out.
Awesome. I love that. Love that. Thank you. So, sorry, I'm recovering from a cold. So if you have anything something like that, please share it with us and I'll share it with the rest of the class. So there's a question, what's Khan Academy and Amoeba Sisters? They're both YouTube or online sites that create videos that are more friendly, user-friendly, and easy to understand. So it's not so technical. And that's why the students in the past have recommended those too. I've used Khan Academy a lot. I have not gone to Amoeba Sisters, but I've heard it was good from a student. So I put it up there. Okay. All right. Yeah, absolutely. Now, in terms of assignments, throughout the course, you will have lots of assignments. And you shouldn't think of these as assignments like, oh my God, extra stuff to do, because really they're helping you study and prepare for the course. They're just a way to kind of guide you through and keep you on track. So there are 7 critical skills assignments and 4 video assignments throughout the course, okay? So the critical skills assignment, for example, because this is a this course is heavily on memorization, it creates like cognitive maps, active learning, things that have been shown research-wise to help students comprehend kind of large science information in a way that's more digestible. Okay, so we'll be practicing those strategies throughout the course through these assignments. And then the 4 video assignments is a way for you to prepare the content and record yourself talking about it and teaching your peers about that content. Because sometimes I can tell you something like 100 times, but it won't click with you, except for when you hear it from another person, like, you know, your colleague, your peers. So that's why I like the video assignments. It's a way to show how much you know it and a way to teach students and have them learn it in a different way than just from me, okay? Now so it's a total of 11 assignments. I dropped 1 assignment, okay? So if something happens, you're sick that week, and you can't do that assignment, no sweat, it automatically drops, okay? So the assignments, there are 11 assignments. 1 of them I automatically dropped, so it won't influence your grade at all, okay? You can submit things late, but there will be a 1-point deduction for late assignments. Okay, so make sure you do submit them online. And this is a new policy. Normally we have no late assignments accepted at all. So our new policy to be more flexible is that I will accept late assignments, but they will be deducted 1 point per day that they are late. Okay, and if you submit assignments in on time, you can these sets of assignments, you can always revise them. Okay, so let's say you submitted an assignment on time and you only got a 7 out of 10, but I'll make comments, I'll provide feedback, so make sure you go back into the assignments to read the feedback. I'll say you're missing number 1 or number 2 is not fully completed. You can go back in and correct them, and I'll go back in and regrade them. Okay. So with the assignments, the purpose of the assignments is really for you to study the content and kind of keep learning about it. Okay. So the assignments should be easy points because you can use your notes, you can use resources, you know, they're just follow their group. Each assignment will have very specific grading rubrics. Just follow those, and there shouldn't be any reason why you can't receive, you know, perfect scores on the assignments. And they make up 10% of your total grade, so it helps to shift away the points from your exams to these, so it lightens the load a little bit. Okay, so that's the purpose of the assignments. They're meant to really help students. Okay. If you revise assignments, does the revised version still have to be submitted by the original deadline? No. If you submit your first assignment on time, then you can revise it and submit it after the deadline. Okay. Other questions? That was a great question.
I have a question.
Mhm.
For the video that we're making for the discussion board, for the discussion post, it's like an intro video. You mentioned that there is criteria that we have to follow for the discussion post, but I didn't really see it there.
The intro has no points to it. It's just for you to introduce yourself to the class. So the criteria doesn't fit in that one.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
it's
for the
just-
other one, we do have, right?
Yes, the other 4 you'll have to do. Yeah. So the first one is kind of just an introduction.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Mhm. Other questions? I love that you're being so active and asking questions. Any other questions so far?
I do have one question.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So you said that if we submit it on time, we're able to revise it after as well, as long as it's submitted prior to the deadline or on time, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, so with the 4 video discussions that you'll have to do on content, this is the rubric for it. So begin the video with your name, date, and topic that you're presenting on. 4 points on the content. Did you include all the content that it requires? 2 points are on the audio, so you have to narrate it. Okay. So you can't use music as a background. You actually have to narrate it, explain it. Okay. And then there's 2 points on the visuals. Now, here's where students lose the points, is on the visuals. So the visuals have to be created by you. Either through a drawing, you can create a model. It can't be any pre-created images from the textbook or from online. The visuals must be created from you. Okay, so for example, I had one year a student take an image from the textbook and put it onto a PowerPoint. So technically she created the PowerPoint, but she used an image from the textbook. That does not count. Okay, so the visuals, the image must be drawn by you or, made by, I had a student that was so good at graphics that I thought it was from the textbook, but they made it themselves. So as long as you create them yourself, the images or model, or there's a video where you go through movements of the joints and then you can do the movements, or you can have your family, like your kids, do the movement. That's perfectly okay. But you alone, like one time I had a student record themselves just talking, that's not a visual, okay? So the visual has to aid in the description of your presentation. Okay. And then there's 2 points where you watch 2 other videos. I would recommend you watching more, but watch at least 2 of your peer videos and providing feedback. Saying this, you did a great job, is not feedback. Okay. Feedback would be more, for example, oh, you defined mitochondria as, a cell, and I recall that it's this, it's an organelle, not a cell. Okay. So I know we're from Minnesota Nice, or just in general, we don't like to critique, but think of it as helping them. Okay. We're not being critiqued because it's a complete, all of you are taking this as intro. I don't expect any prior knowledge. So if you make mistakes, that's completely fine. That's why we do this. It's so that we can catch your mistakes, and then we can have the class, myself and the TA kind of help you correct that mistake. It's better to correct it here than on an exam. Okay? So that's why provide constructive criticism. If it's something that you heard that, isn't what you learned, then you tell them. It doesn't mean that you're right either, but it's just trying to sit, let's work through this together. Okay, so make sure you provide constructive criticism to help them improve. Okay. Any questions on the video discussions? Weekly assignments, you will have weekly quizzes. So you'll have a quiz every week except for when you have your exam. The quizzes are at the same time. I try to make everything consistent instead of like changing it every week. Oh, now it's due this date. Now it's due this date. No, I keep them as consistent as possible. So you get into the habit of, okay, oh, it's Sunday. I have to make sure I do my quizzes because they're due by Sunday at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, so all the quizzes are due by Sunday, 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, you will have both a lecture and a lab quiz. Both quizzes require you to use Respondus Lockdown Browser. I have it set so that you can also use the webcam if you want to practice it, because your exams will require the webcam. Okay, but your quizzes do not. But if you just want to get into the habit of using the webcam or just the experience of it, you can use it. It's optional. I recommend it. The quizzes should never require a password. If it does, though, the password is going to be anatomy. Okay, so when I first started teaching this class like 7 years ago, we had it password locked. It's not password locked anymore, but sometimes it reverts back to that original setting. But if it does, the password is anatomy, but none of them should have any passwords. Okay. The lecture quizzes will always be on the current week's lecture modules. There are 10 questions, multiple choice, and you can do them twice. Okay. So what I would recommend is doing one like midweek to kind of see what you know from what you don't know, and then take it again closer to the end of the week to kind of measure what your gains are. You can always go back and review any quiz anytime once I've released that. Okay. You do have to use Respondus Lockdown Browser to view them, but you can always go back in anytime. Like for example, week 4, when you have your first exam, you can go back to any of your previous quizzes and review them. And I highly recommend you doing that. That's the purpose of the quizzes. They're low points to kind of help you keep on track and you know whether you understand a certain topic or not. Okay, so use them to the best of their, what their purpose is. The lab quizzes are always going to be on the current week's lab modules. It's going to be 10 questions, and with this one, you have to type in the answer. Okay, so it's not multiple choice. Spelling counts. Okay, so there's no word bank, there's no keywords. So when you're studying your lab, make sure you're not only being able to identify what structure is what, but practice spelling them. Okay? The students have 2 attempts. There are no makeup or retakes because of that. They are open for the full week. Okay, so you have until Monday to Sunday to take them, and you have 2 attempts. So there's no remakes, no retakes. Okay? A lot of you have already taken the practice quiz. The practice quiz is just to kind of make sure that your computer can open respondents lockdown, can use the webcam okay. There's no points to the practice quiz. You can take them as many times as you want. As a matter of fact, I would recommend you taking the practice quiz before you ever take any exams, just to make sure your computer is okay for taking the exams. Okay, it just helps you kind of go through if there's any technical issues ahead of you. Okay. Use the quizzes as a learning tool. Review the quizzes after grades have been released. Okay. The correct answers to the quizzes will only be available for 48 hours after I release them. However, you are able to review the quiz and your answers to them anytime. Okay. The correct answers, in other words, if you answered something if you answered something incorrectly, the correct answer will show up for 48 hours after I release it, but after that, you can see your quiz and your answers, but not the correct answers. But that's okay, because, you can look them up, you can, make sure you look at the quizzes within that 48 hours so you know what the correct answer is. Okay. All right, questions at this point? Our lab quizzes and lecture quizzes are open to take ahead of time in case we cannot do it that week. So they're open for the full week. So Erica, for example, you have quiz 1 and lecture quiz and lab quiz 1 that's due on Sunday, 11 p.m. They're open from Monday, so today, until Sunday. If you need yeah, go ahead.
I was wondering, if they could be opened by you a week prior to that, in the case that we can't do it the following week or something.
Yes, so contact me if that's the case, contact me, and then I will go in and do a special opening for you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, always contact me. I know life happens, so you never know unless you ask, right? So if something does come up, just contact me. Sometimes I can, do things and sometimes I can't, but I won't know unless you ask. So if any situation comes up, just keep in contact with me, let me know. Sometimes I can assist, sometimes I can't, but at least I can think about it. So you just contact me. Yeah. Other questions? So the layout of the course, you have the assignments, they're worth 10% of your grade. Your lecture quizzes are worth 10% of your grade, and you have 11 of them. I dropped the lowest quiz. Okay. Then you have your exams. Your lecture exam 1, 2, and 3 are worth 10% each. The final exam is worth 20% of your grade. So think of it as exam 4 and then the comprehensive portion. Okay. The lab, your lab quizzes, you have 11 of them. I dropped the lowest one. They're worth 5% of your grade. Exam 1, 2, and 3 are also worth 5% of your grade, and your final exam is worth 10% of your grade. Okay? Questions?
The comprehensive that we're supposed to do, is that like a write-in answer or what is it?
Multiple choice.
Okay, so it's exam 4 and then plus a multiple choice one?
So your lecture exams are 50 questions. 40 of them are multiple choice, 10 of them are right in the blanks. So on that final exam, there's two components, right? 50 questions here, 50 questions here. 50 questions that are on the comprehensive portion, they're all multiple choice. Okay, and then the other 50 is think of it as your exam 4. So 40 questions are multiple choice, 10 questions are fill in the blank.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Other questions? All right. So I always get this question, particularly near the end of the term, is there extra credit? So I have changed it because due to the feedback as well as the resources that I have gotten. So this year I'm able to get a TA. So yes, there is extra credit. Okay, so you can earn 10 points by meeting with me, the TA, or as a study group. Okay, so each time you meet with me, a TA or study group, you can earn 2 points. Okay, so before your meeting, I want you to create 3 of your muddiest points. Okay, so 3 of your muddiest points. And then what questions do you have, or something that you didn't understand? During the session, ask your questions, and afterwards, email me your question, the response to your question, and let me know who you met with. Okay? If it's a study group, you do need to provide proof of meeting, like a screenshot of your Zoom session, or if you can meet in person, just take a picture, a selfie of you and the classmates. Okay? So there are 2 points per session with a maximum of 10 points. So you can meet 5 times 2 points each. You can definitely meet more. But this is just to kind of encourage that community building again that I think sometimes get lost in an online asynchronous class. Okay, so you can meet with me, the TA, and or study group. Okay, or sometimes I always offer review sessions. Those count as well. As long as you do these steps, you bring the 3 muddiest points, ask your questions, provide response, email me your typed up. Okay, so that's one way of getting extra credit throughout the term. The second way of getting extra credit throughout the term is near the end, I offer an assignment called Inequities in Science. Okay, that's also worth 10 points, and I'll give it to you near the end of the term. So there's a possible 2%, because these are worth 1% each, 2% to kind of help buffer your grade. So let's say you're 2% away from an A. Do all of these fully, and then that will push you up. Okay? Yeah.
Professor, like me, I am the only one that I'm the only one in Maryland. I don't know how I can meet someone. I'm by myself in this area.
Yes. So you can meet with me, you can meet with the TA, or you can meet as a study group with your classmates online through Zoom. So what I'll do to kind of help facilitate, actually, I'm going to have the TA do that. The TA will help create study groups, so you can sign up for the study groups whenever because you live in different time zones and such. So I'll have the TA create kind of a study group, a weekly study group where you can see if you can attend whichever one you can attend. Okay, so don't worry about,
Okay.
I don't know anybody, how am I going to connect? We'll create a space for you to connect with each other. That's a great question.
Okay, I want to know that because I never been in a group. I want to know how I can do that
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
someone too.
Yep. And there will be
Okay.
sessions where
Thank
I
you.
won't be there, so you can feel free to share your woes with each other. And then if you want me to be there, I can certainly be there because I know how important it is to have the different levels. Sometimes you want to talk to me, sometimes you don't. So yeah, that's a great
Yes.
question. All right.
Thank
Any other-
you.
Yes. Any other questions about extra credit? But
I have
these
a
are the
question.
only extra credit that we have, though. Yes.
So for the muddiest point questions, the create 3, We would email those to you or email our responses?
Both.
Both, so email both to you. And
Yes.
then we would answer them together in our meeting. Okay, thank you.
And the muddiest points, one of them, at least one of them should be on content. Okay, but the other one could be like, I don't know how to study for this exam. Does anyone have any hints? Okay. But one of them, at least one of them should be on content. Like, can someone explain muscle contraction for me? All right, any questions before I move on? All right, accommodations. Please, 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 if you qualify for accommodations, please contact them at this this office as soon as possible, so then I can give you extended test taking time on my end. So please, if you qualify for extended test taking time, please contact the student accessibility and accommodations as soon as possible. Don't wait. Okay, particularly if you've had accommodations in the past, or you qualify for them, contact them as soon as possible. It's not a matter of needing it or not, and if you qualify, you should get it. And if you don't need them, then you don't use them, but at least they're there and that I've entered in the system for you. Okay. I've had some students who qualify, but they didn't do it until, midterm. And by that point, it was so late to pull their grade up, So if you qualify, do it right away. Okay. So I can have all that in my system. Okay. All right. So, excuse me. So the Canvas course layout looks like this. So you have the home page, the syllabus, announcements, modules, discussions, assignments, grades, and people. One very cool thing that I highly recommend is to set your announcements. You can get a text or email anytime I make any updates or changes or release your grades on Canvas. Okay, rather than waiting for you to go in, you can receive notification of it. Okay, so all you have to do is go into the accounts and then notifications and change it so that you can indicate what you would prefer, either receiving a text on your cell phone or email. Let's say I put up an announcement, you'll get that the minute I do it, instead of having to wait for you to go into Canvas. Okay. When you go into Canvas, you see the home welcome page, and then you'll see the courses that under the to do, the things that are due. Now, these due dates are deadlines, meaning you don't start it at that point. That's when you have to submit it by. It closes at this time. Okay, so just make sure that it's not a open time, but a to be submitted by time. Okay. The syllabus, everything's in the syllabus. Okay, I always go to the syllabus. One other additional thing that I don't think students use enough are announcements. Okay, so we're gonna go into Canvas and take a look at what the announcements looks like, but it's really, really crucial that you check the announcement every week. Okay, I send out a weekly course announcements, and in the weekly course announcements, there's always supplemental links. And those supplemental links, even though I call them supplemental, I made them for this course specifically, so they're not generic. Okay, they're for you for this course. And I've heard that students who've used them in the past find them extremely helpful. Okay, so please, please make sure you check the weekly course announcements and go through the supplemental links. Okay. Question, are the times central or at our local time? I love that question. Everything in this course is based on Central Standard Time. Okay, everything in this course is based on Central Standard Time. So you gotta make sure that you have that in mind, particularly if you don't live in Central Standard Time, about the deadlines and moving dates. Okay. So one of the things that I include in the weekly course announcements when we get to the time is preparing for the exams and a study guide. Some students say the study guide is useless. Some students love the study guide. So, use it as you will. If you find it useful, use it. If you don't find it useful, don't use it. It's meant to be a general. So some students are used to study guides that tell them exactly what to study because that's exactly what's going to be your exam. This is not it. Okay. So because I'm expecting you to know everything, the study guide will walk you through everything. It doesn't pinpoint because I don't even know what questions you're going to get on the exam. Okay. So your exams have every single question in them and it's randomized. So I don't know what questions you're going to get, to be honest. Okay, all I know is that this set of questions are from this topic, this set of questions are from this topic, and every topic is represented from what I know you studied. Does that make sense? And then within that topic, there are like 50 questions and they'll randomize and you'll get 10 of them. So, you know, the only thing I can do to best prepare you for this class is to tell you to study everything. We've already curated it so that everything is only like 30% of your textbook. Okay, we've tried to really narrow down the topics that we require you to know. But then within that topic, we really need you to know all of those topics that we've known about. Okay, so use it as you will. You know, if you find it helpful, use it. I would suggest for the first exam, use it. And then from there, you can decide whether it's helpful or not. Okay, it is very helpful for some students. And then for others, not so much, according to their review of it. Okay. Is there a function on Canvas that can put our assignment due dates onto the calendar? The calendar is currently blank. I don't know. I have to check on that. That's a great question. Oh, you mean your Google Calendar or the calendar on Canvas?
The calendar on Canvas.
I think it should be on there. Let me check with IT. I'll check on that. Okay. All right. So let me walk you through. So this is what your Canvas page should look like. You have home, syllabus, announcements, modules, and so on. So on the side right here, let me move this. You can see on the right-hand side, there's this to-do list with the deadline. So that's why I thought it should be on your calendar because it's based on these dates right here. So I'm not sure why it's not on your calendar.
We can only see your PowerPoint, not where you're clicking on
Oh.
Canvas.
Thank you. And that's why I appreciate your participation. Let me change that. Sure. Okay, so for me, it's on my calendar, but it's not on yours. Can you see my calendar though? That's so odd, because here I see all the deadlines and the due dates. So here I was here, and then under the to-do, I have all these due dates. And then I click on view course calendar. And then they do pop up for me. Maybe there's a setting that you have to do on your end to set the calendar. I'll check on it. I'll ask IT. Okay, then under the announcements page, so you can see I do send out a weekly email or weekly announcements that tells you a little bit about the course, kind of what you should do. You know, for week 1, do this, do this, do this. Recommendations for how to study. The lab, the chemistry, there's a worksheet and so on. So make sure that you're checking in with the weekly announcements. And then the modules, you can see for this week, you should do the practice quiz. The module itself, the introduction, that's your introduction video to kind of let everyone know who you are in the class. It's not worth any points. There's no like criteria, just kind of introduce yourself and There's some prompts to kind of help you know what to introduce yourself with. Then the assignment, you have the assignment 1, time management, and then the 2 quizzes, the do list group. Okay. And then in the discussions, you'll see we'll have 4 discussions, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the extra credit will pop up near the end. Assignments. These are all the assignments that you have. You can also access them through here. So if you click on assignments and then click on the actual assignment, it'll take you there. Grades. That will show you what your current grade are for each one. And you will see that on the side over here, if I make any comments or provide any feedback, there'll be a little notation here that tells you that I actually, that I gave you feedback. You can see who's in the class, like clicking on this list. So if you want to contact anyone in your class, you can. Course material, you can evaluate this course near the end. The course, oh, no, okay. I thought it was going to pop up, but it doesn't. So how many of you have access to the course materials already? No? That's where your ebook is going to be located. I'm not sure why it's not popping up. But your course book will be in here. And with that, you should get an email sometime today. Should be by today, because that's how they've done it in the past, the first day of class, that tells you about your ebook. Okay, so all students automatically get an ebook, and the cost of that ebook is charged to your account. If you purchased a book already, you can contact them and they will take that charge off, but then you will no longer have access to the ebook. Okay, if you want to purchase a paper copy of it, it is at a cheaper cost because you already purchased the ebook. So make sure you read that information, but everyone starts off being charged for the ebook. It's a lower price because we did it as an ebook version. But again, if you were able to find a textbook, make sure you contact them and tell them I already have a textbook, and then we remove that cost from your account. Okay? But it would be here, course materials. Okay, there was a question in the chat. I see them. Oh, thank you, Timothy. So Timothy has them on their calendar. Okay, so maybe it's a setting.
I have a question too.
Yes.
For the book, it's getting charged to my account, and how do we pay that?
It's part of your tuition.
Okay,
So-
so I don't have,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. So and that's the nice thing. If you're getting financial aid, then the ebook is part of that
okay,
cost. Yeah.
okay, nice. Thank you.
Professor,
I also-
it's not the book we had the book of her last semester.
It's the same
It's
one
not the
from
same book.
last semester. Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank
Yeah.
And then, quick question,
Yes.
who do we know to contact to let know that we've already purchased the book?
In that email, it should give you a contact person.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Did anyone receive that email yet by any chance? No? All right. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. So we went through that. So when you go into the modules, each module looks like this. You'll have module 1 with the overall objective, the lecture component, which includes the outline, the PowerPoint, and the script. Okay, the outline is, so we provide the outline to kind of help you, because we recommend you rewriting your notes. So when you rewrite your notes, using the outline as kind of like a template to rewrite your notes. You should watch the video of the lecture. So when you watch the video of the lecture, it will be using the PowerPoint. And the script is the narration of the video. Right? So kind of make sure you're using all of your resources. It does say here that you can follow along in your textbook. These pages are not going to be quite correct unless you have the paper textbook, because the ebook pages are a little bit different. So what I would recommend is to I'm gonna contact them and see if they can give me the correct page numbers. But either way, your primary resource should be this content. The reason for that is because your textbook is meant for a whole year-long anatomy and physiology. So it's gonna contain a lot more information than we require you to know. Okay, it's a great resource so if you're going through the video materials and you find that you need more examples, go to the textbook. Okay, otherwise, your primary source of information to prepare you for the exams and quizzes will be what we cover in the videos. Okay? For the lab, download the lab PDF, watch the video, fill out the lab PDF, and that will prepare you for the lab quiz and lab exams. Okay? In addition to that, we also have another set of navigation, extra supplemental materials over here. So we have lots of supplemental materials as to kind of different resources from different people. So the supplemental resources that are provided in the announcements page, those are created by me. Where the supplemental materials that we create on the navigational materials, some are from me, but some are from other instructors, so that you can hear it from a different person, a different perspective. Okay. Then this is my recommendation. If you were to do it on a weekly basis, and you should definitely try to do as much as possible, spread it out. Don't, do too much at the beginning, too much at the end. It's a course where it takes time for your brain to process the content and just kind of think through it. So Monday through Tuesday, I would say start printing, downloading, and watching the videos. Wednesday, Thursday, once you've had time to process it in your brain, rewrite your notes, edit your script, and then complete the assignments. Then on Friday, review your notes, do the worksheets, do the cognitive maps, and then Saturday, Sunday, take the quizzes. Okay, so this is kind of the general breakdown I would recommend. And notice that you're doing a lot of different things. Okay, so earlier on, you're reading, you're trying to put the information into your brain. The second portion is your worksheet and cognitive maps. Those are the active learning. Those are the things that help you practice, pull the content out. Because you need to be able to put the information in, but you also need to practice pulling the information out. That's the difference between knowing the content and doing well on assessments. Right? And a lot of times students have a disconnect. They'll study really hard. They'll tell me they'll study like, I say 20 hours a week, but I still did poorly on this exam. Did you practice active learning? Did you practice pulling the content out? And most of the time the answer is no. Okay. So doing well in this class requires 3 main steps: bring it in, practicing taking it out, and test taking strategies. Okay. When we get closer to the first exam, I'll start sharing the test taking strategies with you. But for now, I want you to focus on studying the content, but also practicing pulling it out. Okay, and doing the worksheets, cognitive maps, flashcards, those are going to help you do that. Okay? All right. So that ends our session, and I'll take any questions you have.
What is the recommended time that you recommend for us to study every day? Like yesterday, I kind of started a little bit on what I was on the modules, and I spent like 8 hours trying to get the info in, but I felt like burned out. Like info was not going in anymore. So what is the recommended time that you feel would be good?
That's going to differ for different students. Some of you will bring a really strong background, like some of you have kinesiology degrees already. So if you bring a background, then you will need to study less. If this truly is an introduction for you into this type of content, then you'll need to set aside a little bit more time. Okay. So on average, I would say from 8 to 10. And then if you've never been exposed to this, about 12 hours a week. You should spread it out. Don't do all in one. Because you're right. You reach a point where you're saturated, and no matter how much more you read about it, nothing sticks.
Yeah.
Stop. Okay. Do the next day. And that's why you will see the recommendation schedule that I gave. I broke it out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Other questions?
I'm not sure if I heard you whenever you answered this question, but for the 4 main units for the 4 exams, how many are multiple choice and how many are not?
50 questions. No, that's 10. 50 questions. 40 of them are multiple choice. 10 are fill in the blanks.
Okay, perfect. And that's for all 4, it'll be the same layout,
Yes, ma'am.
40 multiple choice, and then 10 written. Okay, thank you so much.
Other questions? I think there's one in the chat. Are the quizzes, here's a great question. Rachel has a question. Are the quizzes and tests timed? Yes, they are. So you have 10 minutes for the quizzes, and depending on whether it's a lecture or lab exam, it's anywhere from, so the lecture exam, you have 15 minutes. For the lab exams, you have 45 minutes. And that's why if you qualify for accommodations, sign up for it right away. Other questions?
I do have a question about the book again. I did go on Canvas under the course material. It doesn't say anything for me either. So I think I might have missed what you mentioned about the textbook. But yeah,
Yeah.
how do I get it again? I don't know.
It's supposed to appear today. Because it's a third party that offers the lower price ebooks. They know last year because I just started using the ebook last year. Excuse me. And they send out the information the first day of classes. So you should get it by today. If you don't go, the modules have enough information that you still will be able to do fine with the materials that we provide with you online on Canvas.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll keep my eye on it too, to make sure if you don't get the textbook or the ebook by tomorrow, will you send me an email? And I'll check on my end as well, but we definitely want to as soon as possible.
Okay, yes, I'll send you an email if not.
Thank you. Other questions?
You said that the textbook is only for further information, right? We guide ourselves through the videos. Thank you.
Yeah, 100% of the content that's going to be quizzed and exam comes directly from the videos. But I'm a teacher. I'm never going to tell you not to read the textbook. Other questions? Well, I hope this session helps, makes you feel more comfortable. And now we know each other a little bit more, connect with each other. And again, just if you have any questions, send me an email. I'll stay back if anyone has any further questions. Otherwise, it was great to meet all of you. And you've already finished your first assignment by joining this session. Oh, I will be sending out a survey to students just to make sure that, because you have to verify whether you attended this meeting or will watch the recordings. Okay, so look for that in your email.